Hi, this is my welcome to ROMT Introduction to Mandolin Playing. So we can explore the mandolin on chords, we're playing tunes, we can learn about how to tune it, what basic equipment you need, such as tuners and a plectrum and a strap and a few other bits and bobs, and explain what makes a good mandolin. So we can explore chords, playing tunes, and all sorts of other aspects of playing the mandolin across whatever genre you fancy. I'm quite flexible at how we approach it, so we can start off doing tunes, doing accompaniment, do a mixture, or just focus on doing chords however you want to. Mandolin has been used for hundreds of years across classical music and folk music, and then we move into zones like Led Zeppelin pop music, or even a bit of Rod Stewart, or Bill Monroe and his Bluegrass Boys brought back the mandolin in a big way in the 20th century for folk and old time music. So this is my mandolin all ready to rock and roll. Yeah, it's a Tanglewood mandolin, does a job, electroacoustic, so it's got pickups and a couple of knobs there to set volume and tone. But you can get them, save a bit of money if you're never intending to go down that route, and just get an acoustic one. So this is a sort of instrument that will do the job. We can get one second hand cheaper, or get a new one if you can manage that. So I will do a further close up so that we can talk about what's required to get us going. So this mandolin's got F holes. Some mandolins will have a round hole in the middle. It's got a bridge to rest the strings on. It's got a stud to hang a strap off. And then in terms of strings, we'll zoom in a bit closer for that. It's got 4 pairs of strings, counting from the floor upwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, or E, A, D, G. We have a neck where we put our fingers on to make the tune, and has inlays so we can see some of the places to put your fingers if you're counting the fret, and also often they have dots on the edge there so you can also see without having to look at the front of the instrument. Then at the top end of the instrument we have tuners, or machine heads they call them, to set the tuning of the instrument. To help us with that, we would have a tuner such as this D'Addario tuner, or you might have a clip-on tuner which is a pure tone for about tenor, or you can use a Boss tuning app like the one here on your phone, which works quite well with a big dial there and doesn't cost anything. So that's a selection of items that would help you get started. To play the mandolin, tend to use a plastic pick. This is a Jim Dunlop 0.8 Jim Dunlop, which you can get, or there's Fenders or Marshalls, all sorts of others. Basically a reasonable sized pick. Get one that's a nice colour, so if you drop it you can find it if it's a nice bright colour, and buy a few because you never know when they're going to go up the hoover or in the dog. So we can do little strokes on the mandolin to generate some tunes and tones. So if you play, so a downstroke, if you play near the bridge it sounds a bit metallic. If you play a bit more near there you get a different tone depending on where you play. If you've got a sound hole, playing over a sound hole works better often for many instruments. So if you play just about here, resting your hand somewhere on the bridge or around the bridge, depends how big your hand is, mine's rather huge, but avoiding resting on the strings, we don't want to mute them. So initially when you're plucking the strings, you want to try to make sure you're plucking both strings, pairs of strings, so you get the mandolin effect. In terms of holding a plectrum, some people just say use a thumb and first finger. I often seem to use 2 fingers and a thumb. Works for me. Depends which book you read as to what people think is the right answer. The right answer is the one that works for you. So you need a suitable plectrum thickness that's fairly waggly, so it will flex a bit, but not so waggly that it will break. So if you go below about 0.6, the chances are when you hit the mandolin, the end of the plectrum will fly off. So you probably really want to stick around the 0.7, 0.8 sort of zone. Or to find out what suits you by buying a little selection, and you can get them different sizes as well. So once you've learned how to pick up and down without dropping on the plectrum, so I can show you the angle. That's the sort of thing that's going on with the plectrum. We want to be able to find the individual strings without looking downwards. We need to be able to do this sort of automatically, so you don't look at if you're driving the car, you don't have to look at everything you're doing, because some of it you can find straight away, just your hands know where to go. So if we go G, 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 that's the string furthest from the floor. It is classed as number 4, and 3, which is a D, then 2, which is an A, and then 1, which is an E. And if you're playing a whole chord, you want to be able to go across all of them. So that's an introduction to how to strum. Now I might hold it a bit tighter if I'm picking to play a tune. I don't need it so waggly. But then I go back to strumming maybe. Okay, so that's suggestions on how to get into strumming on a mandolin. So once we know how to strum on open strings where there's no fingering, then we can learn how to put our fingers on the frets. So what we do is we tend to number our fingers: 1 index, 2 middle, 3 is annular. So 1, 2, 3 anyway. And we also use a little finger, the pinky, 4th finger sometimes also. So what we need to do is the finger wants to land somewhere on its end, holding the string down, but not on the fret, not on that fret, just sort of in the middle. My fingers are rather huge, so they barely fit, and just enough pressure to make the string bend around the fret wire. You don't want to overpress, because all that does is make your fingers ache and wear your frets out. So just enough pressure to make a decent sound come out.